Being mentally prepared for a game is never being surprised by anything. So
I can't look back, it's too late now. My days are hours and I don't know how, but I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
good morning, welcome to the 40th Breakfast Ball. I am your host, Bob Cardia, and to my left is not the dashing Richie Stoltz today. No, it is the presumptive team captain of Rutgers University at Camden, Sonny Leone. So welcome, Sonny. Good morning.
Thank you.
Sonny's first chance to get on the Breakfast Ball, folks. So
Yeah.
we're excited to have him here today. So I'm going to dive right in with our quote of the day from Dr. Gio Valente. He said, "To me, the challenge of the average golfer is to narrow the range of focus. They must learn to remember the good shots so that they're the ones in mind that flash into your mind, rather, during crucial moments," which is a form of visualization. So we're going to talk about visualization today, and we're going to talk about being mentally tough and mentally prepared. The topic today, or the mark of a champion, is the name of the podcast today, because there's certain things that champions do, okay, and it's just not the physical stuff. It's a lot to do with the physical and the mental. But anyway, before we dive in, my dear Sonny here, how the heck did you get here? Okay.
It was a long journey, trust me.
Yeah.
I grew up a baseball player my whole life. I played baseball.
Yes, he did.
I played golf on the weekends with my dad here and there, but I never really thought to take it seriously until like my senior year of high school. I wanted to start focusing more on golf, and then I met Coach and I got on the Rutgers squad. But I was more of a project in Coach's eyes rather than a starter. He was going to try to like form me into the kind of golfer he wanted to, but I worked my butt off, and now I'm here, and I'm almost the captain of the team, so that's great. When I came in, I had the baseball slice.
You did have the baseball
We fixed it pretty fast, but now that's where I'm at.
Well, that's a testament to you, actually, because, I mean, the majority, and like 90% of all golfers, cut the golf ball. They slice the golf ball. And golf being the stupid sport that it is, it's counterintuitive, right? If you want a ball to curve right, you got to swing left. And if you want a ball to curve left, you got to swing right. If you want a ball to go up, you got to swing down. It doesn't reason out well. It's the reason I have a job.
Yeah.
But Sonny came in with a big old cut, and but he took instruction well. You came in as a project. But I think I told you at the time, the movie Rudy. I love Rudy. Right. Anybody who comes in and wants to work their ass off and become something better than they are, I admire the heck out of. And now look at this. You're sitting here like a year later. And honestly, I mean, the team has to vote and the coaches have to vote. But,
right.
I mean, I think the feeling is that presumptively you're going to be the captain, which that's not just the player. On my teams anyway, the best player isn't always the captain. It's the person who has the whole package. It's the guy that believes in the program, that's good for his teammates, that is a player, and also leads by example and by force.
Yeah.
So you've made a lot of improvement, unquestionably. I would say of the projected starters this year, you are the most improved. So, what would be the one thing that you would say that is kind of the one greatest thing that you've done or learned or practiced that's gotten you to where you are now?
Probably the consistency of the amount I play now. I recently got a job at Dogleg Golf, so it's like a simulator.
Yeah, and we do some part-time teaching there too. So by all means, very nice. Throw it out to Jeff if Jeff's watching. Right? It's up. What's the actual? Is it in Cinnaminson or is it
Cinnaminson? Yeah,
it's in Cinnaminson off Route 130, Forever, New Jersey. Very very nice facility. But go ahead. Sorry.
All TrackMan and stuff like that.
All TrackMan. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, but I'm just swinging constantly. Using that equipment and working on my game constantly, even when I'm at work. So I mean, I just live golf.
And Jeff doesn't mind.
No, Jeff doesn't mind at all. Yeah, so I'm working, I'm golfing, I'm practicing, I'm doing all that kind of stuff. So I think just the consistency of how much I play and the great instruction that I get from all my peers and coaches and stuff like that.
I love it. So I think one of the areas that you and I are going to actually drill down on this coming year is the last part of the game is
Yep.
actually
The
the mental
mindset,
part of the
yep.
game, and we'll get to it a little bit more later. But I would like to keep my notes as we go. The benchmarks of all great competitors is how they respond to problems and crisis,
Yep.
and we're going to talk about that in a minute because we had a story from Sonny from last year that I think basically like encapsulates the difference between being good and great. Because if you look at like the PGA Tour, for example, the difference between like the number 1 and number 50 player in the world is like less than a stroke or something like that. There's the fine grade of what you need to do to go from being really good to great is a lot of it in your head.
It's all mental, yeah.
That's Ray Floyd. I think I mentioned that before in the podcast, but Floyd said somebody asked him, "Do you know Ray Floyd, by the way?"
No.
The guy won a bunch of majors.
Oh.
He's older though, right? So Floyd, some reporter asked him one time. They said, "Mr. Floyd, would you consider golf to be at least 75% mental or something like that?" And he said, "Bullshit. It's 100% mental." So yeah,
I have heard that quote before. I think you
that's
told me
fun.
that.
Yeah,
I heard it out of you.
probably. It's because that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So, have you developed any particular method of dealing with stress or pressure, or you're just kind of feeling your way along? You tell me. You know.
So,
be honest.
I haven't developed it, like I didn't come up with it, but Phil Mickelson actually focuses a lot on breathing.
Yeah.
So
love
I kind of focus on my breathing. Like I hit my tee shot, walk down the fairway, just get my breaths down, get my heart rate down, because you're going to be in a lot of nervous situations on the course.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that helps me the most as far as that.
I love that, but that's it's funny because I read a lot. So I read a book called the China Study,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about the people that live the longest in the world, and they're typically from Asian cultures that they eat fish and a highly vegetarian diet,
Yeah.
but also they have a Zen or a Qi
Right.
about them. They're big believers rather in breathing, and yeah, Dr. James Loren, and we talk about a lot in the past few weeks about this stuff. But yeah, breathing, it's huge. You can, if you're feeling underwhelmed, there's tricks you can do to increase your heart rate
Yep.
through breathing. Or if you're too hyped up, there's things you can do to decrease your heart rate in breathing.
Yep.
And yeah, that is. It's fundamental, but most golfers don't understand that. And I know you and I have talked about Ben Hogan.
Yep.
Hogan said he'd get to tournament early on tournament days. He'd walk slower, he'd breathe slower, he'd drink ginger ale.
Ginger ale,
yeah,
yeah.
because it's calming
We all
properties.
started doing that.
Yeah, hey man, yeah. Hey, you can't argue with the guy's success. I mean, you listen to a guy like Gary Player,
Yep.
and he's like, Hogan was the best ball striker he ever saw in his life. So. Yeah, so we haven't done much, and we're going to do this year, actually, just so you know, more with visualization for the team. But simple definition of visualization is seeing through your mind's eye, being able to recreate past experiences through mental images. So we're going into this. All right. So was it in the spring or was it in the fall?
It was
last
the
year?
spring.
Spring. Okay.
Never forget it.
And well, okay.
I think that's a good thing, though.
Well, yeah. So it's how you remember it is what matters.
Yeah.
I tell my guys all the time. I'm sure Sonny's heard me say this a bunch of times before. We never lose. Okay. We either win or we learn, and that's what we do. Okay. Because if you're not learning from something that didn't go your way rather, you're not helping yourself in any way. Right. So. Sonny, I'm watching, man. The first 7 holes at our home golf course are the gauntlet. If you can get through the first 7 holes, chances are you're going to put up a number. Yep. So I'm watching Sonny glide along 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 1 under on the 7th tee. And
We actually started in the back that day.
Oh, ooh.
So I was 1 under through,
oh my God,
16?
with 3 to play.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
I forgot that part.
Yep.
Thank you for reminding me. Oh,
Yeah.
that makes it even better.
It
Okay.
makes it even worse.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I corrected myself right as it came out. So he goes a little left on I guess it would be 16 for you? Yeah, 16.
Yeah, the front 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah, so he has a window. Now, 5 and 7 are very similar holes. They're tiny greens over water with trees hanging on both sides. They're what I call sucker holes. Okay, and the 9 holes I played with you guys last year, I I think I shot 39 on that side. Coach has 4 fused vertebrae, so I don't play much anymore. But on both 5 and 7, I hit drives that were not desirable. I popped the one up on 5, and I went left on 7. And I think I was playing with, it was definitely Gloria, and I forget who else I was playing with, but I laid up short of the water. Like literally I hit 60 to 70 yard wedges to lay up short of the water, and I got drilled with, I won't even use the exact words, but wimp, what are you doing, coach, da-da-da. And I put both wedges to less than 8 feet, and I made both putts. So I walked away with 2 pars.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm telling you this is Sonny, 1 under, 3 to play, is looking at this going, I got this, I could do this, right? And the general rule is amongst caddies is if you can't pull something off 7 out of 10 times, especially with a round like that going, don't do it. And unfortunately, Sonny hit it, and I caught the branch, right?
It caught the very end of the branch and then kicked into the water.
Yes, and what did we end up making on that hole?
It was a double bogey.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
So
now went to 1 over.
Yes, and Sonny, when did you end up shooting that day anyway?
I went double bogey and then bogey.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 or
Right.
3 or
That was the iceberg that you hit in the ocean. Yeah, that was the Titanic.
Yeah.
And the conversation, and you were very upset, and I completely understand that. But at the end of the day, what do we learn from that, right? Well, if we work on visualization, like talking in the mind's eye, and what Richie talks about with you, and what is, let's say, rather than saying, man, I'm going to go balls to the wall and take this ridiculous chance, why don't I lay it in the middle of the fairway, and then at that point, visualize. What was my greatest hour, my greatest moment? What was my greatest up and down I ever made? Whether it be for a hot dog or to beat one of your teammates, or fill your mind with that. Lay it up to the water and say to myself, you know what? Knowing the worst you're going to make is a bogey.
Right.
Right. Lay it up and go with that. Does it make sense? Right.
No, yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I visualized that shot through the trees. It just didn't go my way.
Right. Well, I gave a playing lesson yesterday to Bill and Dave I was at Westwood, and it's amazing, like shot selection, because after the round was over, they thanked me quite a bit. Like the shots that the average guy hits around the green, or even like out of the trees or something like that, I'm firmly convinced I could have saved them both 5 to 7 strokes each. Or even in bag setup. Dave's actually, he shot under his age. He's 78 and he shot 77 the other day. He can play a little bit. But look at his bag setup, and it goes, I think, 4-iron to pitching wedge. He's got no sand, no lob, no nothing. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, well, I used to carry my bag, and I don't like it to be heavy. I'm like, well, it's like you're a novelist using 16 letters of the alphabet. Like, you don't have all the tools in your toolbox. And then Bill, great, but like he was hitting some shots. I'm like, if you're not an experienced guy, or he's actually Bill's pretty good also. He's an experienced guy, but like if you're 2 or 3 feet off the green, and you don't practice chipping all the time, your worst putt will always be better than your worst chip.
Yep.
And we did it 3 or 4 times throughout the round. It was like, holy shnikes! Like it was clearly better that way.
Yeah.
So. All right, let's go to quote number 2 anyway. Well, actually, no, sorry, back to you. The goal should be, in spite of pressure, you feel confident and eager. The challenge is not a challenge. It's not a threat, but a challenge. So next time Sonny gets into that spot, what are we going to do?
We're going to definitely we're going to punch out to the fairway and take the easy shot. Take the easy shot onto the green. No shot's easy, but take the easier shot. But
you know what? When you get to a point in your game, I do. I want you to believe every shot is easy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. We talked about last week. I don't know if you watched last week's podcast, but the studies that show, like, if you outwardly exude confidence, like if you fake it till you make it was last week.
Yeah.
If you actually give your posture and carry yourself exterior wise that you're confident, your mind starts to buy it.
Yeah.
So, just a thought. All right, quote 2, James Lure: being mentally prepared for a game is never being surprised by anything. I'm doing this without my glasses, folks. Okay. Yeah. So one more time. Being mentally prepared for a game is never being surprised by anything. So being 1 under, going to 16, and you miss your first fairway, you're left. Don't be surprised by that. Say,
Yeah.
you know what? That's what happens.
Yeah.
And what do I do from here? Studies are undeniable. Physical practice, when accompanied by appropriate mental practice, is far superior. Okay. So what do you think about that? So know this visualization stuff, right? By the way, know this. It's a learned skill.
Right.
We had a guy in here for meditation, and people quit meditation all the time because they say I'm not good at it. And I did too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I tried meditation. I'm like, shit, I'm not very good at this, so I quit. What do you think now that we're talking about it? Because we've never talked specifically about it. What are your thoughts on possibly incorporating visualization into your?
I'm definitely thinking about it now. I know Richie uses it all the time. Like I hear him on the course. He talks through his shots, and he tells me like, "Oh, I've done this before. I got this. I could do this. I'm gonna land it 10 feet past the hole and spin back to 5 feet."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "All right, do it," and then he actually does. So
Yeah.
he's a great player, but yeah, I see him use it all the time on the course.
Yeah.
But I think it could work in my game. I would have to practice it, but yeah, it's definitely a good skill to have.
It's a learned skill.
Yeah.
It absolutely is a learned skill. And when you see the maturation of players, as I have over the years, even just the way you carry yourself now on a golf course, I always say, if I can tell how you're playing from 50 yards away, it's not typically never a good thing. You definitely carry yourself with more confidence. But I like the Gio Valente book is Fearless Golf. I don't want Sonny to play fearful golf. I want you to play fearless golf.
Yeah.
I want you to go out there believing, because right now, guys like Sonny have put in so much practice time into it that you should be able to reap the benefits of doing it. Now, physically, you're there. Okay. Mentally, that's the next step.
Yep.
So, I have final thoughts written down, but I kind of want to talk a little bit about this year's team. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
It's going to be good. We're young, but since the COVID restrictions have come off, we've been able to pick up some more players. So, you don't have to comment on how good you think the team is going to be, because I think we got a little bit of ways to go yet.
Right.
I don't want to put the expectations, but the team for the first time in a while, like last year we were above 500, but this year I think we legitimately have a shot to be a lot more competitive. So I just want to gauge your excitement on this. What are your thoughts on this year? What are your expectations for this year?
The expectations are high, but I'm just excited for the more competitive side of like really fighting for that starting spot. Like last year we had 7 guys on the team.
We actually started off with 9, and then through injuries and remember happened with JR. Oh God, that's just terrible.
Yeah.
We by the time the playoffs rolled around, we were really like we went from 9 to 6, and then by the time the actual conference championships came
barely
by,
had 5.
we had 6, but it was 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just excited for that. Like, if you want to play in these tournaments, you actually got to show up and play and score well in practice and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for the competition. I'm excited for the challenge of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be now. By the time the spring rolls around, we're probably going to have legitimately 10 guys that can play.
Yeah.
So that's always my nirvana. I in terms of coaching every sport, I've coached actually NBA All-Stars. I've coached some of the kids that were in the Little League World Series, the championship game last year against Curacao. Having done this and coaching lots of sports over a period of time, mind you, I'm a career golfer. I see things in people that I think go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
Q, right?
Yeah.
Q4 said something to me not too long ago that is one of the reasons that we do this podcast, and I think I discussed it with you. But his father, Q3, is one of my favorite people. Works for us part-time, PGA golf pro, just salt of the earth type of guy. He taught his son how to play golf. So Q4 said to me not too long ago, he's like, my dad taught me how to swing a golf club. My dad introduced me to golf. My dad, was, so valuable to his entire golf life. He said, but what I went through with him was more of how to play golf.
Yeah.
And like that, I took that as a huge compliment, especially coming from that family. So that's what I'm hoping for you, brother. Yeah. I'm hoping that. And do you know Kevin Anderson at all?
No.
Yeah. Pierce and Reed do. But Kevin Anderson was a former player, member at, I think he's still a member at Riverton, I think.
Okay.
He came out to one of our functions, I guess about a year ago, and Kevin's a wild. He's actually did stand-up comedy, and he's
really?
he's an interesting cat. But I always liked Kevin. But he pulled me aside at one of the last functions we went to again, and he's like, Coach, all the stuff that you preached to me back in the day. He's like, I kind of looked at it like, what does this guy know? It's kind of whatever. And he said he really wishes that he had listened more back in the day because everything that we were preaching was true. Mm-hmm. So I loved it. Anyway, my dad used to say self-praise sucks, but I it made me feel good anyway. So final thoughts. Know that visualization is one of the most powerful techniques to be used in learning self-control, self-confidence, mental toughness. Again, thank you, Dr. Lohr. If you like what we're doing, subscribe, and if you comment, I'm sure your family and friends are going to comment in the comment section. I love the breakfast ball. You will get a free, if you're one of the top 10, it goes into a drawing. You'll get a free Starbucks gift card.
Yeah.
Okay. But our new store is online. We got a bunch of stuff coming in, and remember, when you're rich and famous from this podcast, and we're not really overly picky, we get 10%. Okay, I'm just saying. Any final thoughts, my man, Sonny?
No, I'm just excited for the season to come. Can't come any quicker. So.
Yeah, like I said, you're the presumptive team captain, so I'm looking forward to working with you more this year, and I'm looking forward to great things.
Yeah, me too.
Guys, I am your host, Bob Cardia. To my left, your far right,
Sonny Leone.
Sonny Leone, presumptive captain, Sonny Leone.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, right? Hope the guys vote for you.
Yeah. If you're watching this, you better vote for me.
That's right. Yeah, you the boys, you know who you are.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, have a great day. See you next week.
Glass of bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. Alcohol. There's no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.